What's up, everybody? We were just hanging out not that long ago. Michael Langston and I just talking about what's going on out there, trying to fill the time, if you will, on a live show. Now there's real news to get to. Welcome on in. This is Warchant TV, part of warchant.com. I'm Azon. That is Michael. If we could ask you to subscribe to our YouTube page, it's totally free. And what else should they do to show some support, Michael, as we give them good news?
Always hit the like button, guys. It's free. It's easy. Pump it. Helps us pump these things. Certainly, even good news like this, like tonight. So, certainly, always hit the like button. That's really the smallest favor we ask for you guys. We're not asking for money. We're not asking for anything. Just something free. So just hit the like button to keep us promoting these things.
Michael, react to this.
It's big. It's a
Boom.
big deal. Big deal. It's a big deal.
Panhandle product went to Maryland, transferred to Miami. We'll talk about how that's all going to work out with now maybe Darrell Jackson trying to come to Tallahassee as he commits to Florida State here on Wednesday night. Michael.
Yeah, it's a big deal. I played at Gadsden County over there in Havana. A guy that actually grew up a fan of FSU. Actually, he wanted to be there the first time around, so I think that probably played into this as well. But um, I think Gary Furman had a really good article on it from the On3 Network from Miami, where he talked about wanting to be closer to his mother. I think there was several factors that contribute to it, but I think just a massive get to have somebody that's a productive, defensive tackle in there. He can play now next to his best friend Joshua Farmer. They reunited again, and just a necessity for FSU to get a really productive defensive tackle in the portal. Adding him certainly fortifies your kind of some your defensive line, or it starts to. And like I said, a guy that's been was I mean, yeah, Miami's season was very bad, but if there was one bright spot, it was certainly Darrell Jackson. The way he played, certainly made a lot of plays. He was one of the most active defensive linemen they had on their roster, and certainly a guy that's a massive pickup for FSU to get him to come back home. Now you get a productive guy. You're going to lose a guy like Robert Cooper, so bringing in a guy to fortify that line is a big deal. So just to bring him back and get a fortunate situation that certainly bounced your way is certainly something I think FSU will take, and I think a guy that's going to really help this defensive front.
Yeah, I guess for some people it doesn't matter how we got to this point, just as long as he shows up at Tallahassee, Michael. But how come a guy from right around down the road, if you will, how come you don't think it worked out previously for Florida State and Darrell Jackson?
Well, I think the first time they were pretty close to full, and they had gotten everything that they thought they were going to get, and they just didn't have room to do it. And so I just think the cards it wasn't in the cards to make it happen on the first time around. But I remember when I talked to Joshua Farmer through high school recruiting, he's like, "Look, Mike, like Darrell's an even bigger FSU fan than I am, so you knew he wanted to be there, but obviously, sometimes things come full circle of working out the way you want to. You always say like the journey's not what you expect, and I think for Darrell it worked out, and it's working out in the gets to play for the team that he's always loved, and certainly gets to play at home. But I think the first time around it was. I mean, I think they should have took him the first time, but um, hey, I'm not in that room. The FSU coaches had to make those choices, but I think this time around it was a kind of a no-brainer. Like FSU's like, hey, this kid loves FSU. He's going to be vetted into the program. Obviously a diehard fan, a grew up fan of FSU, so certainly to have all those mixed together with he's a hell of a player too. I think this is a no-brainer for FSU to pursue him.
By first time, do you mean him coming out of high school or when he was in the portal the first time last year?
I would say like Maryland when he was
Okay.
coming off to Maryland. I think he visited FSU, but I didn't think there was like enough room at that time. That they were full. But I think this time around it's kind of a no brainer where hey, you got a place, you got a need, feel the need, and I don't know if you're going to find too many more guys that are productive to the way of what Darrell was. We've looked at a lot of these grades. There's a lot of green in there, guys. Green is good. So certainly a guy that I think is going to help you in those trenches. Very good against the run. Certainly, gets after the pass rusher well. He gets off blocks very well. So that's the thing that jumped out to me about Darrell is like and if you see this guy in person, he looks like $1,000,000 when you see him. He's definitely going to pass the all airport person when he gets off that plane. You're going to notice him. Body is exactly how you would want a guy to look as far as going into college. So I think he adds a lot, to that defensive line room, which is it's already a good defensive line, but there were holes in there they need to fill, and they just filled a big one with landing Darrell.
All right, Michael. I mean, I know it's hard to put numbers on these sort of things, but I guess how confident, maybe not only do you feel, but I mean, I would think if they're going to allow him to make a commit like this on Instagram, he only has one Instagram post ever, and it's this one that he made. I would guess that means the staff feels pretty confident about this hardship waiver because he did use his one-time transfer to go from Maryland
Right,
to Miami. He's going to have to get some stuff to kind of fall his way here.
right.
Have you heard anything, at least in terms of confidence level, maybe with some of the people around the Florida State program, that he can get it and then be instantly eligible?
I have not personally per se heard kind of the likelihood, but I think there's confidence when you do something like this that this is a guy that you feel like, hey, he's going to play right away for us. Obviously, his mom health situation will
Yeah,
certainly.
listen. If he doesn't get a hardship,
Yeah.
then what is a hardship? How are you going to define it? Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah. And I think, I mean, and even Gary Furman put it in his article, and it's a great article on Darrell of when he go back home, and he felt confident that he was going to get, that waiver and special thing. And if you're not doing special things for this situation, I mean, what are you? I mean, so I feel good about it, but obviously I haven't heard anything per se. But I mean, I think when you measure everything together of the reasons, I think it certainly passes the test of what you would consider for a hardship.
yeah. All right. So, I mean, you've mentioned about some of his skill set here. I mean, this is a guy that if he does get the instant eligibility, this is a guy that you probably pencil in as I don't know, maybe a starter. I mean, this guy's going to play, and he's going to play a lot for Florida State. I mean, over 400 snaps for Miami this year. So,
Right. Yeah, I mean, he's got the earning spot like anybody else. Norvell doesn't promise anything when they come in there. He just promises like, look, I'm gonna work you. I'm gonna develop you. I'm gonna get you ready. And certainly, but when you look at the numbers and what he does and the amount of snaps he has, yeah, you feel pretty good. Like, hey, this guy's gonna have a good chance to be a starter. If he does everything you anticipate to him to do. So, like I said, getting a proven guy is a massive boost for this FSU team going into next season. And as long as everything works out with the waiver and stuff, I think it's going to be a really good deal for FSU.
you think they're done on the interior of the defensive line with this?
Um, right now, I would say yes because I haven't heard anybody that's like
Right.
like I said, Derek Hunter was going to visit. Although Derek's kind of a mixture of an end slash defensive tackle, but that visit was called off. So and there's really nobody else that I've heard. Obviously, they're waiting to see what Fabian Lovett does. Obviously, that's a big deal of what direct. I mean, maybe if Fabian doesn't come back, then maybe there'll be some other guys that maybe they look at, whether high school or overall. But for right now, I think they're holding to see what Fabian does. But for now, I'd say yeah, that's probably for it for now. I think there's Braden Fiskey's also another guy that has told me personally that yeah, I'm pretty interested in FSU. Although I think he probably likely ends up at Notre Dame if you ask me. So I think it's really right now, yeah, that's kind of where they're at just with Darrell. And then we'll see where they go after the Lovett announcement or whenever he decides on either coming back or leaving.
We've talked about this for about 9 minutes, but the first 10 seconds, the words out of Michael Langston's mouth pretty much sums it up. This is a big one for Florida State, big one for Florida State. Getting Darrell Jackson out of Miami, originally from here in Quincy,
Yep.
to come home, if you will, to Florida State. Again, he did commit on Wednesday night on social media right there. His first ever Instagram post announcing that he's coming to the Noles. So we'll see him in Tallahassee here soon, and hopefully he'll be instantly eligible if he gets that hardship. We'll definitely
Right.
keep tabs on that.
Yeah.
And Michael Langston keeping tabs on everything going on in the transfer portal over on the premium recruiting board. If you're a member, you already know this. If you're not a member, $10, an entire year of access to all the stuff that Michael's cranking out, all the stuff we're cranking out on the Tribal Council from here until a whole nother year for $10. So what you waiting for? Get on with it, everybody. Michael, we appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up, everybody, on the way out, please.
Anytime.